This is Shabbos Mem Dalid. We're talking about going out with a sandal, and then we're going to talk about other items that we could go out with. V'lo b'yachid, the Mishnah says you cannot go with a single sandal. So Rav Abba says b'fnei hachshad, because of the suspicion. Shelo yomer ish pliny nifsak sandaloi, so that people will not think this person's other sandal broke. V'saloi beis shichiyoi, that he's suspended it and carrying it under his arm. The person sees going out only one sandal and say, "Oh, he must be carrying the other one under his arm, or hidden a secret, because he's embarrassed that it broke, and now he's carrying a Shabbos, and we don't want that chashad." It's interesting because we talked about what happens if this person's sandal broke. He should go to the nearest courtyard and deposit it there. Then what does he do? If it's not his courtyard, what does he do then? How is he going to then get another sandal? And the Gemara already talked about how people only really had one sandals back then. Where would he even borrow another sandal? So it could be talking about he probably went to the courtyard that was closest to his house or to a closest place where he could get another sandal. And now we're going to talk about the next Gemara, and we're going to see how it is really possible, because there could be a chshad, but if there's a reason, then a person could wear one sandal. Bisman she'ein baragloi maka, when this person does not have a wound in his foot, but a person does have a wound in his foot, then he could go with one sandal. So now we're talking about the wound in his foot. We're talking about which foot has a wound. So if we're talking about the wound is on the foot with the sandal and it's covered up and you don't see it, so then there's a reason why a person's going out with one sandal, and that's fine. Therefore, if a person's sandal broke and he deposited in another place, he has no other choice. Ein breira, then he can go out with that one sandal and he doesn't worry about the chashad. Let's continue. Ha'im yesh bragloi mako hu naisein. Is he putting on the sandal where the wound in his foot is? Al eizesh mehen vu naisein. On which of the feet is he putting it on? Shmuel says, Al oise she'ein ba mako hu naisein. He puts it on the foot that does not have the makkah. For if you say that he puts it on the foot with the wound, so man tseir le v'lo yitain al charasei. So then who basically is telling him that he's going to put the shoe and switch the shoe and put it on the other foot? Because having a sandal on the unhealthy foot, what prevents him putting the sandal on the healthy foot? So people are going to see a sandal on one foot, they're going to have the same chashad as we said before. What prevents him from putting on the sandal on the healthy foot? Why is he only wearing one sandal if he has a wound? So therefore, it must be that it's on the healthy foot, and the unhealthy foot does not have the sandal because it bothers him. And we see people who have casts. The foot that is healthy have the shoe. The foot that is not healthy has a cast and does not have a shoe. Rabbi Yochanan says, "Al oisa sheyesh ba maka hu naisein." On the one where the foot has the wound, so it could be Rabbi Yochanan is saying also on that one, if he needs to protect the wound, he puts it on that foot. So therefore, let's say there's a person who doesn't really have sandals. Why is he not wearing a sandal on the other foot? Because he goes out barefoot. He doesn't have sandals. He's wearing one. He borrowed one specifically on Shabbos, and he's doing it on the foot that has the wound. And people see him limping around, they're not going to have the chashad that the other one is underneath his arm. Shimon bar Hava Mishmei Kumi Rabbi Yochanan. So Shimon bar Hava was attending to Rabbi Yochanan. V'Have Moshe Yalei Sandalei Kada Dehei B'derech Haaretz. And he handed Rabbi Yochanan his sandal in the manner in which the Brisa taught people in Derech Haaretz Rabbah. Kishahu Nail, when a person puts on his shoes, Noyel shel Yamin v'achar kach Noyel shel Smile, he first puts on his right shoe, and then he puts on his left shoe. Kishahu Chayletz, when a person removes his shoe, Chayletz shel Smile, he removes the left, v'achar kach Chayletz shel Yamin, and then he removes the right shoe. Amar le Rabbi Yochanan said to him, Balia, the Babylonian, Lo ta'avdein kain, do not conduct yourself like this. Harishayim loy hayu oisen kain. Because the early generations, they didn't do this either. Ella, kishahu noyel, rather, when a person put on his shoes, noyel shall smile v'achkach noyel shall yimin. People tend to put on their left shoe first, and then their right shoe. B'shlai tehei, nira shall yamin paguma. So the right foot will not appear to be impaired. Because what's going to happen? A person's going to put on his right shoe, and then he's not going to have his left shoe handy. Someone's going to see he's only wearing a right shoe. They'll think, oh, his right foot must be impaired. If he puts on his left shoe, that's the normal way. He puts on his left shoe, and then his right shoe. If he's only his left shoe is on, then it must be that he's going to be putting on his right shoe. So this is a hard Gemara to understand because, especially if he has both sandals right there. If you have a second sandal readily available right there, people seeing one sandal on one foot and seeing the person putting on the sandals, clearly he's about to put on the sandal on the other foot. So why would a person think that there's a wound automatically? So it must be that really the normal way is to do the left and then the right. People normally, righties, they'll put on the left foot first and then the right foot first. When the Medrash was trying to teach you to do the other way around, to favor the right foot, or when it's not natural, so then what it looks like is now you have a wound in the left foot because you have a right foot with the shoe, a left without a shoe, and people are going to say, 1 second, you're righty, you put on your right shoe first, it must be you have a wound on your left, on your right foot. So therefore, he says, no, just put on shoes the normal way that you normally do, and that's not a problem. And that also proves, by the way, that you could put a shoe on the wound to protect the wound, because then people will look at the right shoe on a right foot when the left foot is bare, they would say, oh, it must be the right foot has a wound. In other words, they suspect that if the person's wearing only one sandal, then the foot with the sandal is the one that has a wound. Hada Amra al Isa Sheish Mako, who nice saying this indicates that the one puts on the foot with the wound. So when people are normal to go out with barefoot, and then they have a shoe on the foot, that indicates that you're obviously favoring the wounded foot, because otherwise, why wouldn't you just wear both feet? So therefore, clearly, we're talking about situations where people would normally just go out barefoot. And there were situations where people would go out barefoot in the summer, in the villages. Not everyone wore sandals. So therefore, in those situations, then you put the shoe on the wound. However, in a situation where you put on two shoes, that wouldn't be the issue because you'd put a shoe on the healthy left foot also, or the healthy other foot. Therefore, it must be that if you are going out with one shoe and you have a wound, it must be that the wound is going to be on the shoe without the sandal. Amarle, so he said to him, in Bavleya the Kamtele, indeed, yes, you are Babylonian, you have grasped the truth of the matter, and that's the Psak Halacha. Yoitzin b'sfilin erev Shabbos im chashecha. You can go out with tefillin right before nightfall. The ein yoitzin b'sandal musar erev Shabbos im chashecha. You cannot go out with a hobnail sandal on Friday before nightfall. This doesn't make sense because the Gemara before said the reason why you can't go with a hobnail sandal is because it makes noise and it scares people. And the problem is on weekday also. So even for Shabbos on a weekday you can't put on the hobnail sandal. Therefore, it must be talking about where you wrapped up the sandal and it's no longer making noise, and therefore, then it's going to be allowed to go on Shabbos. But the problem is, let's say you wrapped it up with something that's not secure, and you're afraid that it's going to come off. So therefore, you can't go with the hobnail sandals plain on Shabbos, and the thing that you put on to cover up or to protect it from the noise, that is not secure, and it may come loose. And the problem is then on Shabbos now, you're going to have a problem with your sandal. Either carrying the sandal or wearing a sandal you shouldn't be wearing, or carrying the material that you used to cover up the hobnail. That's probably what the Gemara is talking about over here. So ma bein zelazeh. What's the difference between tefillin and the sandal? Zeh darkai lachloitz. This is the custom to take off tefillin before nightfall. Every day, people take off tefillin before nightfall. So therefore, if he goes on Friday afternoon when it's about to come dark, anyways, he can take it off before nightfall because he does it during the whole week. He takes it off before nightfall. And this one is not a custom. You don't take off your shoes. So therefore, you can go out with the shoes. It's going to be unsecure with that material trying to protect it to make a kosher sandal. That material might fall off, and then it will go. Now you get into a problem. Einzu kameya mumche, which is the amulet that is the expert. Kyle sherife by v'shana v'shlisha. Anyone that healed and it cured a third time. It cured again, and then it cured a third time. Rabbi Avu b'shem Rabbi Yechanan. Rabbi Avu says the name of Rabbi Yechanan. Nemon ha'raifa loimer kamei zemumcha. A healer is believed to say this is a expert amulet. Rifesi by Vishnisi Vishlishti. That I healed it once, twice, and 3 times. Rab Shmuel B'Shem Rab Zeira. Rifei La'adam Echad. Nemo La'adam Echad. If you only healed one person, then it's only expert for that one person, even if you healed one person 3 times. L'shnayim Nemo L'shnayim. For 2, it's reliable for the 2 people. L'shloisha Nemo L'chaldim. Once it healed 3 people, even if you healed 3 people one time, but it healed at least 3 times, and it healed 3 people, then it's Nemun for everybody. A person can go out with an expert amulet, bein b'chsav, whether in writing, or bein ba'asafim, or whether with herbiage. Ubevad shaloi nenuloi b'sher v'loi b'tabas. So long as he doesn't put it in a bracelet or in a ring, because once you attach the jewelry, it becomes like an ornament, and now it's an ornament, it's no longer an amulet, and therefore that's going to be the same problem as jewelry. Ba'oin kome Rabbi Yonasan. Mahu masnise bahan sloina. What is the law of placing the amulet in its tube on Shabbos? Amarline, they said to him, again, so long as you don't do it and you don't put it together with jewelry, then it's fine, you can do that. Ba'oin kumi Rabbi Yonasan. Mahu mafig mahu mimyaka. What's the law regarding a mimyaka, which is a necklace that attaches to the clothing? Amarline, he said to them, Mishmein Tashchit, it's the same as jewelry. But they said to him, Ibishem Tashchit Hula, you can say it's like jewelry, but Daniel, Loiser, but Daniel would have been prohibited. Vahamanicha, Didahave al Savarai, and the king Belshazzar placed a golden neckband on Daniel's neck. And he went out. Ibishem Mashoy B'Shabbos, if he's saying it's an account of a burden on Shabbos, but then in Nema Kol Luxus Harehu B'Chus, that anything that's attached to clothing isn't clothing. So therefore, it's not a burden because it's attached to clothing and it goes around his neck. He wears it and it's around his neck and it's attached to clothing. So therefore, it's mutter to go out with. Rabbi Yosi, Rabbi Bon B'Shem Rabbi Yosi, Rabbi Yosi son of Bon, in the name of Rabbi Yosi, Makash in the phrase, a wound that is already healed, nice naleh ratia. You can put a dressing on it. Shein Allah kishamra, for it's merely just protecting the wound. Ravun b'shem Ravinan Taman. Ravun said in the name of the Rabbanan. Noisnin aleha al gabe maka b'Shabbos. One place a leaf on the wound of Shabbos. Shein Allah kishamra, because all he does is protect it. Amarav Tanchumar, if the Chumah says chutz mali gfanim, except for the leaves of grapevines, Shahil Rufa, because they have healing properties. Amra Vichuna, the Chada Pua, that the madder plant, Ikotoiv Sagin, who is an excellent herb. Kad Isbe Chamisha Kitrin, the Shiva Kitrin, Tisha Kitrin, Ubuchaid La Yimei Maya. That especially if it has 5 or 7 or 9 knots, provided that moisture is still inside it, and then it has good healing properties. Ein Kairin Pasuk al Gabe Makam Shabbos. A person may not recite a verse over a wound on Shabbos. V'hadein the Kari al Yavrucha Aser. And those who recite over Yavrucha is Aser. And Yavrucha is a sickness. And those who recited Psukim over that to try to heal it, that was Aser on Shabbos. Bayukrei as a Pasuk Azeh al Bini Shehu Misyaves. That come and recite the verse, my son, for he becomes frightened. Tain a love safer, or place a Torah on him. Tain a love tefillin, place over him tefillin so that he will sleep. Usher, these are all usher. As a matter of fact, they could be usher also not on Shabbos. If you're trying to use a Torah in ways of like witchcraft, so that's like the way of the Goyim, and therefore it cannot be used. A person clearly could daven, and you could say Tehillim, and you could learn in the schus of a person, but to treat it like you're chanting over the person and saying prayers from the Torah and using the Torah or tefillin to try to heal somebody, that we don't do. V'hatani, but it's taught in the Brisa. Aymin hayu share pagun b'Yushalayim. They recite songs of harmful spirits in Yushalayim when they wanted to do building and they were going in dark alleyways or expanding. They would recite these Tehillim, and that would drive away evil spirits. Amar Rav Yudin. Rav Yudin says, Kan misha nikva. This is when there's the affliction already. Kan achloi nikva. And this is when you're not been afflicted. When you're trying to do preventative, and trying to just make sure that things are blessed, so to speak, then they're fine. But once a person's afflicted, trying to use it as healing, that can't be done on Shabbos, and it probably can't be done during the week also. The Ein Zahu Share Pagoyin. And what is these harmful spirit songs? Hashem Rabu Tzarai. This is from Telem Gimel, B'chal Mizmar, and the entire Mizmar, Yoshe B'Seisha Elyain of Tehillim 91. The one who sits in refuge in the Most High, and Ad Kiyata Hashem Maxi Elyain Samtumaynecha. Until you are Hashem, my refuge, you have made the Most High dwelling place. In other words, saying Tehillim, doing it at Tefillah, that's okay. Zukt the next halacha, halacha gimel. Loi seitze ish b'machat nekuva. A woman may not go out with a needle that is pierced. V'loi b'tabas yesh lech choisem with a signet ring. V'loi b'chulchyar, no with a brooch that's decorative. V'loi b'chaychlereles, and now with the spice bundle. V'loi b'tzolches shel polishton, and all the flasks of scented oil. V'im yatzas, and if she went out, chayev is chatos, she's chayev chatos. The very minute shaver. Chum poitrin b'chayleves, and the chum say that the spice bundle that's worn around her neck, or b'chaytzlin shel polishton, or the flask of scented oil around her neck, those are being worn, and that is not chayev in a chatos. But it doesn't say whether it be mutter. It could be they can't go out with it on Shabbos either, and that's why Shavuos. Tane was taught in the Brisa. Lo yetze achayet b'machta shechel. Taylor may not go out with a needle in his clothing. V'loi havavar b'kumos she'oznoi. No, the scribe with a pen on his ear. V'tzvat b'dumo shnozoi. Or the dyer with the swatch behind his ear. V'loi shulchani b'dinar she'oznoi. Nor a money changer with a dinar behind his ear. If you went out, harei lupturim. They are all pater aval aser. In other words, it's all an isser v'rabbanan, but it's not chayv. It's a rebbeir. It's a rebbeir. Chayim say that umnam b'unasai chayiv. A person goes out as a craftsman, then he's chayiv. Harshar kol adam yotzim b'kach. But any other person, they can go out with it because that's a shinoi and it's not going to be a malacha. So Malchava Shcheta the Rabbi Meir. Really, the Rabbi Meir's opinion has to be reversed. It's non-tana because we learned in the Mishnah. And if a woman goes out with these things, chayav chatas, the Rabbi Meir. So for Hachol who Amar Hachin, and all of a sudden Rabbi Meir is saying here that the potter. So Rabbana Amar Lastam. Rabbana said like this. Rabbi Avun b'Shem Yechanan. Rabbi Avun said the same thing in the name of Rabbi Yechanan. That Tamon derech haitzas b'nashim. That when it's the usual manner of caring for women. But Ram Hacha Tfelon Yoitze B'Kach. But over here, it's not only the new tailors do this, but the ones that are experts do not do it. So therefore, everyone here that's talking about Rabbi Meir is saying that that's good to go out, potter to go out. So Rabbi Meir is talking about these are all experts or doing things in a non-expert way. Novices may do it this way, but the experts don't do it this way. There's not the way they usually carry, and therefore there's not an expert doing it in an expert way, and therefore that's why our mayor says it's putter. Obviously, there are Rabbanan disagree, and that's why they put in the last sentence saying, no, this is the way that the experts go out, so then they're chayev. So in other words, maybe that brisa doesn't even have a contradiction, because now the only contradiction is, do experts go out this way? Our mayor is saying no, and Rabbanan is saying yes. But the bottom line is, if it's not the way that the experts do it, then Rabbanan would agree, putter. And if it is the way experts do it, our mayor would agree, chayev. Mechalfa shchitasa and the Rabbanan. The view of the Rabbanan should be reversed. That's Nina and Tamon, for we learned in the Mishnah. Chamen Paitrin, but cheles, that the Rabbanan say that only the cheles is pater, or the flask of scented oil. Ha b'machat and the kuva chayev. But with a pierced needle, it should be chayev. The dahi umna b'munasai chayev. And the sages say here, the craftsman manner is chayev. Here the Rabbanan are saying that only craftsmen doing it in a craftsman way are chayiv. And here you're talking about a normal woman. A normal woman doing out, that's chayiv. How can a normal woman be chayiv if only craftsmen doing it in a craftsman way are chayiv? So why are you now applying it also to regular people carrying needles out that way? So Amar Avon says that tiftar be'isha gideles. No, really, it was a hairdresser. The Mishnah is talking about a hairdresser. So if a hairdresser goes out that way, she's now an expert doing it in an expert way, and that's why the chayiv, and now the Rabbanan existence between both Bryce and Mishnah. Rabbi Acha b'Shem, Rabbi Abba bar Nachman, that the Rabbi Nachman Zuhi, that our Mishnah is Rabbi Nechemya, that it's non-tan, that's what we learned in the Mishnah there, that tabas shel Mateches, and a metal ring, the chaisem shaloi shel algmois, and the signet of coral, tameos tame, taba shel algmoig, and a coral ring, chaisema shel mateches, whose signet is of metal, tahar is tahar.